What's happening, everybody? Boy Big Brando, and today I wanted to show you guys how to load vinyl into the Cameo 3 vinyl cutter. Now, if you already know how to do this, obviously you don't even need to watch this video, but for the people that's been emailing me having issues with loading a 15-inch piece of vinyl through the vinyl cutter, also loading their cutting mat through the vinyl cutter, all of that stuff they've been having issues with, so they've been hitting me up. So I said, why not just make a video for the people having an issue with loading vinyl through their Cameo 3 vinyl cutter. So I'm going to take you guys over to the Cameo cutter right now and show you exactly how I do this. There's no secret to it. I don't know why a lot of people don't talk about feeding 15-inch pieces of vinyl through there, but I'm going to show you guys how I do it if you haven't seen my other videos about that. All right guys, so now you see the actual vinyl cutter. This is the Silhouette Cameo 3. Here is 15-inch piece of vinyl. For the naysayers, $15 there it is. All you have to do, load it in there. As you could see, 15-inch roll of vinyl loaded into the Cameo 3. There's no cutting mat under here, it's just the vinyl. What you have to watch out for though is these set screws. There's one right here, there's one right here. Those set screws, if the vinyl touches it, it'll skew the whole piece of vinyl because it's gonna start hitting that screw, and the piece of vinyl will turn and your cut will get messed up. You'll ruin your vinyl. But what you have to remember is to get it in between this screw here, this screw here. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look at your own vinyl cutter. You'll see the two screws looking down. You'll see the screw here and here. Just make sure you line it up. You could take a marker and then mark this to say, hey, the screw's here, the screw's here, as a fair warning. But this is a 15-inch piece that's fed through there. Now, it won't cut 15 inches. It'll cut 12 still, so you'll have 1.5 inches on each side that is wasted. So if you're cutting something by run, a ton of decals, maybe a ton of t-shirt prints or something like that, and you just want to cut it right off the roll, it'll feed right off the roll in there 15 inches across. Not a problem. There's no issues. If your vinyl goes in and it is skewed a little bit, this lever right here will release this roller. It'll pop it up. Then you can make a micro adjustment on straighten it out and stuff like that. So this lever right here will lift the roller. Now the piece of vinyl is free to move about. You can straighten it out. You can make the minor adjustments. Once you have it in there, you just lock it back down, and now it's in there snug. All right, so 15-inch piece of vinyl can be fed through the Cameo cutter. It won't cut 15 inches, but you could still feed it in there. Now, for everybody that was curious about the cutting mat, I don't always use this thing. This right here is just a protective layer because it's sticky. So it's just a protective thing to keep the thing sticky. This is the one that came with the cutter. I rarely use it. If I do use it, it's because I just want to cut a small piece of vinyl, right? So if I have a little 4-inch piece, I'll put it right here in the corner, send it through, and cut it out. But feeding this thing in, you go off of these guidelines. There's a guide there, there's an arrow there. Put the edge of the cutting mat to there. Load. That's all it is. The roller is going to catch it right here, lined up with this arrow. This roller will catch it right here. That's all you have to do. What you have to tell the Cameo software is, if you're using the cutting mat, just say you're using it. Click the checkbox using the cutting mat. If you're not using the cutting mat and you're just feeding vinyl through like I showed you before, make sure you tell the Cameo not using a cutting mat, no cutting mat, or whatever the option is. Make sure you tell the machine that you're not using it, because that's going to gauge the depth on how deep to cut. If you say you're using the cutting mat, then it's not going to cut as deep, because it's not going to, you don't want to cut through this. And if you're saying you're using, no cutting mat, then it's going to gauge how thick the vinyl is, and it'll make the correct depth cuts. It's all it is. Hopefully this helps you guys out. For some reason, a lot of people were having issues with that, and a lot of people are saying, hey, you're not feeding a real 15-inch piece of vinyl through the vinyl cutter, whatever it is. Yes, it is. It will feed through there. It just won't cut 15 inches across. All right. Hopefully this helps somebody out. If you already knew how to do all this, obviously you could click off the video, but I just wanted to show that I don't always use the cutting mat. Most of the time I feed a whole piece of vinyl through there, and the only time that I do use this is when I want to cut a small piece of vinyl. I'll stick it on there and then feed it through and just have it cut that little piece out. All right, catch you guys on the next one. Yeah.